What's going on, YouTubers, and welcome to another episode of the Tyrant Documentaries. I wanted to start out this week by giving a shout out to the first two winners of the WMRC, that's the Winter Mythic Recon Challenge. The winner of Week 1, which featured Nightfall, was Aura Soldier 313. Nice job, bro, and very fast time, by the way. The winner of Week 2, which featured Winter Contingency, was Aaron Morris. I like the last name. That was pretty awesome. Now, I know I promised you guys a video on why I dislike Halo 2, so guess what? You're in for a treat today. You are going to find out exactly why Halo 2 is the bane of my existence. Damn you, Halo 2! Now, to fully understand why I dislike Halo 2 so much, you've got to understand why I was such a big fan of Halo 1. Combat Evolved, back in 2001. The launch game for the Xbox. Halo 1 was like an all-new experience for me. I mean, I really wasn't big into first-person shooters at the time. I didn't have a whole lot of experience in them, and Halo just opened up a whole new world. It was just, put it to you this way, it was the best graphics I had ever seen. It introduced this huge open-world environment. The aliens were awesome to fight. I loved the array of weapons. They were all very different from each other, and they all each had their own strategic purpose in the game. Plus, there wasn't a bunch that you had to memorize, and the fact that you could only hold two at a time made the game a lot, or at least feel a lot more tactical. I loved the fact that the aliens were scary, except for the grunts, which seemed like the comic relief for the game. Dead Devil! I could play that game for hours and hours on end. In fact, that was the first game that I beat on Legendary. Well, it was the first one. And believe it or not, I started out on Easy, and after I beat the game on Easy for the first time, I jumped straight into Legendary, and I got my ass handed to me. Halo 1 Legendary was probably the most balanced Halo game on Legendary that I've ever played, at least to date. And even to this day, I still continue to play it. The introduction of Halo Anniversary was like God's gift to mankind. Thank you, 343. It's basically the best game of all time, but with updated graphics and features. Awesome decision on your part. So after I played the first Halo game, I read The Fall of Reach, which is an excellent book, very well written by a guy named Eric Nyland. And it basically gives the background to the whole Halo story. And it basically makes the Covenant look like a very formidable foe, a very terrifying foe that just knocks over human worlds left and right effortlessly. And then after you read The Fall of Reach and you go back and play Halo 1, you just get so engrossed in the storyline, and that's what I loved about Halo 1 so much. The gameplay was not only extremely repeatable and very entertaining, but it had an excellent story to match it, and I had never experienced that in a game before. So then I saw the announcement trailer for Halo 2, and was devastated to find out that the Covenant had finally found Earth, which I assumed was like the last human world at the time. Like the Covenant had just completely annihilated all the other colonies, and that was it. And so when you see the trailer for Halo 2, you think it's going to be about humanity's last stand against the Covenant, that it's the final stronghold, and this is the big epic battle that will determine the fate of the entire human race. So then, in 2003, Bungie released an E3 demo of Halo 2, where it was basically a drop into the city of New Mombasa that was currently occupied by the Covenant and being invaded. And you're introduced into these huge open-world urban environments, you know, in the future. And it seemed like Halo 1, but more awesome environments than the first one, and lots of cool added new features like boarding, and dual wielding, and new weapons. I mean, I was looking forward to seeing this game for like 2 years. Maybe longer, I don't know. So then the game actually comes out, and I start playing it. And I'm kind of like, alright, this is better graphics, okay, this is kind of cool. But as I went through the story, I noticed the campaign seemed very linear as opposed to Halo 1, which had kind of an open world feel. Halo 2 felt very scripted, like you had to do certain things. And then I noticed that the elites were speaking English, and I was kind of like, wait a minute, what? So now, on top of the fact that, you know, it's a linear campaign, it seems more like a movie than a game, Now you've got the Covenant, instead of going, wart, 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 you've got, by the rings, this is too much, which seemed kind of gay. And I was like, So then you get like the biggest slap to the face when you start playing the Arbiter for the first time. Not that the Arbiter isn't a cool character, but I really didn't want the Covenant humanized. You know, I'm a fan of like Independence Day, War of the Worlds, you know, impending doom on humanity by a superior species. And all of a sudden they're, you know, giving the Covenant human features and giving them feelings. I mean, aliens have feelings? I mean, this isn't Star Wars or Star Trek. This is supposed to be science fiction, not science fantasy. So basically they took this really cool story and turned it into a space opera. Now, at first I was really excited about them introducing new species to the Covenant. And then I met the drones. And I never really got the drones. I mean, I thought the Covenant was supposed to be like a conglomerate of alien races that work together, but every time you see the drones, with the exception of ODST, where they were implemented really well, they all fight independently. Like, you always encounter them in separate groups. They don't seem to interact with the Covenant at all. They seem to be a more of a worker class than a combat class, and I don't really get how they fit into the Covenant. Plus, they're a pain in the ass to kill. And then, of course, there is the bane of my existence in all Halo games, and that is the Halo 2 Jackal Sniper. If you've played Halo 2 on Legendary, you know what I'm talking about. I still don't get how the Master Chief, icon of the series, can die from a single shot to the toe from one Jackal Sniper round. That just does not fly with me, and it's so frustrating. It's not even so much that it's difficult, it's just that you have to memorize every single location of every Jackal Sniper and you die repeatedly. So it's not so much that it's just too hard, it just feels imbalanced and it limits the gameplay style of it immensely. It's just not fun. Fortunately, they improved it a lot in Halo 3 with the Jackal Snipers with the little scope things and whatnot, and the delays in their shots, and they can miss a little bit easier. But, I mean, the Jackal Snipers in Halo 2 are just like borderline magical, and I hate them. I hate them with a bloody red passion. Did you play the game before you released it? I mean, I was so turned off by that I almost did not buy Halo 3. That's how pissed off I was at Halo 2. I mean, I waited 2 years for this game to come out, and that's what I got. And then, of course, there's the additional storyline element that I'm sure most of you can agree with me with, and that's the whole just cutting it off right in the middle. I mean, that's like what they did with The Matrix. They just cut the storyline in half. I don't think anyone was expecting that. And then you had to wait 3 years before you found out the conclusion of the story. Now, I know what a lot of you are thinking. You're saying, Tyrant, the multiplayer is where it's at. You should have gotten into the multiplayer. Well, for those of you who know me and know how I even got a name in this series at all, it's through campaign. I do not give a rat's ass about multiplayer. I enjoyed multiplayer in Halo 1 to a point. I actually did play a lot of matchmaking in Halo 3, but Halo 2 just didn't work for me. So I know a lot of you are huge multiplayer fans for Halo 2. I know a lot of you are bandwagon jumpers, and Halo 2 was your first Halo game, and I understand that, and I respect that completely. And, you know, I get it, but I just do not factor in multiplayer when it comes to a Halo game. So for me, Halo 2 stuck out like a sore thumb, and ever since the additional Halo games came out, I have never gone back and played Halo 2. Bungie definitely made up for it with Halo 3 and ODST and kind of Reach. The games were much better. The storyline for Halo 3 was still crap in my opinion, but the gameplay was unbelievably awesome, and to me that's what really counts. I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of story as long as the gameplay is fantastic, and for Halo 3 they definitely nailed it. And the same with ODST and Reach. So as far as I'm concerned, Halo 2 is really kind of the only black sheep in the series. So now you kind of have an understanding of why I'm not a huge fan of Halo 2. That's not to say Halo 2 is a bad game. I don't want that to come across at all. It's just a bad Halo game. It doesn't really fit with the franchise, at least in my opinion. Now, for those of you who are wondering if I'm going to do a Halo 2 walkthrough, the answer is yeah. I mean, it's still a Halo game. And so, I tell you what, I'll make a deal with you. When I hit 5,000 subscribers, I will do a no deaths Halo 2 Legendary walkthrough just for you guys. Now don't worry, I know that seems like a big number, and it kind of is, but you'll have a lot of stuff to look forward to until then. You've got the Anniversary Legendary Guide, the Mythic Guide, and some other cool stuff as well. So, you know, hang tight. I promise it'll come faster than you think. or at least I hope so. Keep subscribing. So thank you for listening to my 10-minute rant of Halo 2. Please comment and subscribe. I'm interested to hear what you guys have to say. I do want to hear your thoughts and opinions about the game, what you liked about it, what you didn't like, if you agree with what I'm saying, if you disagree. But yeah, let me know, because I'm very interested to see what you have to say about the game and what your opinion is. Thanks again for watching. This is the Tyrant with the Tyrant Documentaries, and I will see you guys next time.